Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, today's episode, we have another keep or cancel decision that is quite interesting because this is actually my last Amex card that we're deciding on. So we're talking about my Amex Delta Platinum cards. Of course, I'll go over my decision, the card itself, why I made it, strategies going forward and things you may want to consider. So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, of course, if you follow the show often, then you know it's no surprise. I'm more of a no annual fee cashback person, but I do travel on occasion, but I never make people wait. So again, this is a keep or cancel decision about my Amex Delta Platinum card. So I ended up canceling the card, so there's that. I now have no Amex cards in my lineup, which I know is going to upset and trigger quite a few folks, but that's okay. So really quick though, if you're new here, what a keep or cancel decision is that, these cards with annual fees, they come due yearly, and it's very important to pay attention because the card issuer will not give you a heads up at all that the annual fee is coming. It just simply posts to your account, and you have 30 days to basically decide if you want to keep, cancel, or product change the card. I can put product change videos down below for you as well as we have videos on how to cancel the card. I'll put everything you need down below if you want as well, but the gist of it is you got to understand, hey, for this card's $250 annual fee, so are you getting $250 worth of value from this card? If not, it doesn't necessarily make sense to keep it. So that is what a keep or cancel decision is. So again, this is the Delta Platinum. I've had it for about 3.5, maybe 4 years now, something like that, but I did cancel it. So let's first take a look at the card to refresh ourselves with it. Then I'll give you my thoughts on it and kind of break it down. So here we have it on screen. Now, this is the Delta Sky Miles Platinum card. Again, $250 annual fee. I got this card right before they refreshed it. It used to be like $195, but then they refreshed it, which means made it more expensive and made it metal, because metal always means more expensive. But you can see your multiplier, 3 back on Delta purchases, 3 on hotels, 2 on restaurants and supermarkets, 1 back on everything else. Classic free check bag, status boost if you spend a lot on the card. TSA pre-check global entry, of course, annual companion certificate that starts in year number 2, main cabin 1 boarding, and then $39 Delta Sky Club access. However, that one is going up. I think it's going to cost $50 by the time you're watching this. But that is the card. So I'll leave that on screen for a second. So, overall, this is one of those cards I end up being kind of sort of conflicted with, really. Because I cancel something doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad card, just means maybe it wasn't the best card for me. So when you start breaking down this card, and we start at the top, I do think the Delta multiplier should be a little bit higher. That's one of the things, 3x back isn't bad, but really, I think it should be closer to, it should probably be 4, then the Delta Reserve would end up being 5x back, so you still have that tier list that you can follow up. But the tough part about this card comes into, 1, it's meant for someone with a player, 2, which is historically not me, because of that companion pass, because of all the other benefits you can get on the other Delta cards, mainly like the Delta Gold. So, for example, check bag is a very valuable perk. Checking bags is expensive. However, never ever have I checked a bag. I just really hate the process of it. I hate it. I feel like, unless you're there are specific use cases, right? You're traveling for work, you have specific things, you have kids, sure, whatever. But if you're just like a dude just traveling by yourself, if you're checking a bag, personally, I feel like it means you're just bringing too much stuff. But, I know it's probably not going to make everyone happy. But again, it's just me. So I don't really use that one. But again, if you have a player too, traveling with someone, everyone on your ticket, at least one other person on your ticket, gets a checked bag. The other thing they flaunt on this one is main cabin 1 priority boarding. However, in my experience, I've never been on a Delta flight where after they board Sky Priority, so it's like the red rug, because it's going to go on a special rug. Sky Priority, military, people like that. After that, everyone just gets in line and just goes. Very rarely do people actually wait. Now, granted, the only real advantage of getting on the plane early is because people like me don't check a bag. You can get overhead room. I'm not opposed to gate checking it. I'll gate check it, but just checking it before security, probably not going to happen. So those are the other 2 things. Again, to get the status, you'd have to spend $25,000 on the card, which I really don't think is worth it. Honestly, if you're going to be spending that much and going after status, then I think you're better served with the Delta Reserve, personally. That's, again, the purple one. That's the big tier card. So overall, I didn't find it that beneficial to have this card personally. Now, again, the main thing here is that companion pass. So I'll put up the rules of the companion pass as we talk about it here. So again, this is from NerdWallet, so you can see, there are restrictions for this, but I can safely say I've used it twice, and I never personally had an issue using it. Now, you got to understand that I'm not really ultimately picky about where I fly on the plane and when. It's actually a funny story. I'm historically the person who I'm going to book economy, and if I'm flying with someone, I'm not going to pay the extra $25 or $30, $50, whatever it is, so we can sit together on a loud plane and not talk. And now you might have some insight onto why I sit alone in this room and talk to myself. Just a thought. So that is the benefit. And again, if you have a dedicated player too, or someone that, or you know you're going to go someplace with someone, at least once a year, then this could definitely pay for the card itself. Again, you would want to be careful of where you use it. So for work, I've flown from Detroit to Pittsburgh, right? That's like a 45-minute flight. You probably don't want to use it for that because, again, it's basically a buy one, get one to an extent. So someplace like here to Los Angeles, my brother lives out in Los Angeles. Someone to here to visit him, sure, right? That could work. You'd probably get your money back if you're going with someone. But, I don't know that it's necessarily worth it holding on to it if you don't know for sure that you're going to go with a player two or companion. So for me, it's really more so if I was checking bags or anything, the Delta Gold is probably better served for me personally. Now, the other thing here that I think is funny is I'm also working on a video about renewing my global entry because it's good for 5 years. You can start renewing it in year 4 or 4.5. So they sent me an email, DHS, Department of Homeland Security. So, I used the Delta credit on the credit on the Delta Platinum card to pay for it, waited until that credit post, $100, then phoned in to cancel it, right? I went through chat, but I did that just, might as well, because it is a good point worth noting. If you're going to cancel a card, you have, again, 30 days to do it, and the annual fee will be refunded. Now, it is also important to know you have to time it right, because if you're still technically responsible for that $100 charge. That's what global entry costs, $100, until the credit posts. And of course, they're not going to give you the credit if you close the card. So timing worked out well. I was able to use the global entry credit on the card, let it post, then close the card. So I thought that was kind of funny. Now, overall, my cancellation process was pretty easy. Now, Amex, they did, they wanted to talk to me about the value of Delta and how much I flew Delta, but I knew I was going to close the card anyway, so I didn't really go into that. I said, hey, I'm trying to close it. Last year, they did give me a retention offer. A retention offer is basically like a mini sign-up bonus where sometimes you have to spend a little bit of money and you'll get some miles. Sometimes they just give you miles to keep it for another year. However, they did check. There was no retention offer, which I knew there wasn't going to be a retention offer because I got one last year and I haven't spent anything on this credit card since. Well, no, that's not true. So I did the retention offer, and then if you use the companion pass, something I did learn was to use the companion pass, it also actually makes you use the Delta Reserve card, or the Delta Platinum card. And that was kind of annoying because I thought, I'll just go buy some Delta gift cards, cover the cost, and then I had all these Delta gift cards sitting around because I didn't realize to use the companion pass, you must also use that Delta credit card. So after that flight, I haven't used it since, so I knew very quickly they weren't going to offer me anything because I'm clearly not a competitive or not a profitable customer, so I didn't expect to be offered anything anyway. I didn't really want to be offered anything anyways, honestly. Now, in addition to that, it is worth noting if you don't get a retention offer but you wanted to keep the card, well, there's also the option of the Business Platinum, the Business Delta Platinum, because again, on the Amex side, the personal Delta cards basically mirror the Business Delta ones. There's a little bit of differentiator and multipliers on some of them, but again, the core benefits are the same: the check bag, the priority boarding, and of course the companion certificate. So if they don't offer you anything on the Delta Platinum, or even if you have the Business Platinum, vice versa. So there you go. That is how I decided to close my Delta Platinum, and I officially have no more Amex cards at the moment, or no annual fee cards. I think I'm 100% cash back. So overall, I want to close with this. I know I've said it before, but anytime you see these videos, I really just want to explain why a card didn't work for me. It doesn't mean it's a bad card. I do think there's a solid population out there where this card is actually the sweet spot. I think the reserve is too much for most people. The gold, not enough. Again, if you're in a relationship, player one, player two, friend, whatever, it doesn't, whatever, you're going somewhere with somebody, I think the Platinum could be a good card for you. It just wasn't good for me. So, there's that. Just, trying to give an honest opinion. So anyways, guys, that is going to be it for this cancellation video. So if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. Of course, if you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel because we're posting content just like this every week and right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Again, question for you guys out there. One, let me know what you think about the Delta Platinum or any other airline cards that you may have. Do you agree with my decision and my reasoning behind the card, or do you think I'm totally off? Love to hear your thoughts either way. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.